And we are live. It's Wednesday night again. Mr. John Wilburn, the bringer of the No Name Nationals. And tonight we have special thing going on with the monkey bike rules, right?
Right.
All right. And I was just telling him just about 10 seconds ago about how excited I was to kind of go through this because it's a big thing. I enjoy this kind of stuff.
Tech is not limited to things with 8 cylinders.
That's correct. Because how I started was motorcycles. Real quick, my dad said, "You want to get a motorcycle?" I was like, "Yes." So I rode the motorcycle until it stopped running. And now my dad goes, "Now you have to fix it." So that's how I started. If you want to know it in a very small nutshell, that's how it started.
There you go.
All
Who
right,
all's
let's
in
go.
the house tonight?
Yeah, you want to go down? I'll give
Yeah.
you. Go ahead. Go for it.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Here early we had Danny Boyd. He says 5th, but for all I know, he could have been 3 of those 5. One-Eyed Cat was here before I got here, and Buff Del Campo. Buff asked about the heart. If you notice, the annoying heart that's in the lower right-hand corner is gone.
Yep.
Professor P performed an exorcism of it earlier. Bruce Cultgren is asking, what's the topic? The topic is the technology that went into the rules for the monkey bike. Hot off the press. You come to Slant Daily Garage's Wednesday Night Tech Talk to see this. Get it here first. Twisted Mopar Dennis is here. How you doing? Slant Daily Garage. Hey, let anybody in here. Michael Robert Embry, 38 POS Racing, Mopars, Mustangs, and minivans, Buick Smith. And by the way, I did not know what Buick Smith looked like until yesterday. He has a video with a 1970, I think it's a C20 Chevy pickup. It's got one of those granny low 4-speeds in it. I'm anxious, and a slant, and not a slant, but an inline 6. So that'll be interesting to follow.
Guy after my own heart right there.
Pete Chris is here. Colin Tebow, mostly old parts and rust. Patrick, indirect connection. Jason, Heavens Mopars. By the way, Heavens Mopars. I'll leave the details to him, but if whatever he does, I don't want to share. But he has some resolution on the caper of the Charger roof that he had shipped. So it looks like he's going to get some kind of resolution there. So I'm happy for him, and I'll leave it to him, whatever he does or doesn't want to say. But the good news is it looks like he's got some relief on that front.
That's good.
Most of the old parts wrong. Ward is here. Max Wedge, Dick Dastardly, Junkyard D, Michael Schmidt, LP94 Lars. It's who's in the house so far.
Nice. So Danny Boyd. So yes, no, I started on bicycles also. But I'm talking about something that actually had you started up, had an engine that actually went somewhere, was a motorcycle. And where I grew up was in Poway, California. And at that time it was a very small town, very small. We had just one stoplight and a couple stop signs. So if you wanted to go anywhere, you had to have a motorcycle. And so that's how it started. But I did bicycles for a while, but to get to high school I rode a dirt bike pretty much. Yeah, it was fun. Good times.
I cannot escape Rick Salmon's VW in his picture there. And we do have a VW coming to No Name Nationals, at least one, coming from Cultured Redneck Garage. Kyle, he's bringing his buggy with VW power. So that will be interesting. It's Sandrail.
Oh, that's awesome. Mid-engine, or is it old school like?
Because it's VW, I would think it's rear engine. I'm assuming it's rear engine. I haven't seen it yet. I've only seen the engine to it.
That was a very popular thing in the West Coast, is they would do a mid-engine with the Volkswagen because they would just flip the ring gear, and it helped out with like wanting the thing to constantly wheelie in the bowls. So.
I actually learned you could do that by flipping the ring gear by accident. We did that in a 66 Beetle in shop class, and we had 4 reverses and 1 forward. Boy, that was exciting.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah. My first really big mistake is I had one that was flipped, and I was like, I'm going to go get a bus transmission. And this was before I knew anything. I go and buy a bus transmission. You can't do that with the bus transmission. You can't do that,
I didn't know if you could or not. That's interesting. So you can't with the bus. It's got to be the.
Yeah, because of the way. Yeah, exactly. With the small case, the small case, you can go whatever way you want. Well,
is it Miss Katie, or is it? How do you pronounce that, if you would? And NSB is here, and Twisted Mopar Dennis says he's just about got the 512 ready for the dyno. Almost sounds like he wants to call out just Mopar Joe in a 512 versus 512, not the
That sounds like a pretty good lineup right there. 512 or
Yes, it
512.
does. In an A body, each of them.
Yeah, and he's got a Linko, doesn't he?
He's running an automatic. He's running a 727, but it's Lee from NSB just below him
Okay.
there. He has a Lenko Dart.
Gotcha. Sorry. I'm going to say this is Miss Cat J. Miss Cat G, if I had to. There's a Cat J-I-E, isn't what I would, that's how I would say it.
Buick Smith is leading us into the whole technology topic here.
Oh. Well, did you want to start on it, or do you
dive
want to
in
wait
whenever
for?
you want? People are still coming in, but we can dive in whenever you want.
No, we'll wait because we've only got about 30 people in here right now. We'll
Sure.
let them. We'll let it roll in. So
I can tell you, Buick Smith, that engine, as cool as it sounds, would not be legal for competition.
yeah, because there's a reason for that.
But you can put it in a Buick if you like.
So I have a hater.
Really?
Oh, and I love haters.
Congratulations.
They're fun because it's like they spend that much time and energy that they'll never get back in their life just to write this stuff. To me, it's just that's kind of flattering, right? So, he goes on and on and on. But what I take out of it is, why do you always say engine and not motor? And so, when you go to school for engineering, there is a difference. Motors are basically electric. They use power. They use of some sort, right? And they have instant torque, technically. And then an engine is something that converts. So something that's going to be a heat engine, something that creates with power from heat. So like a steam locomotive, that's an engine. An engine in a car is an engine. And then he goes, I already know what you're going to say. So then why do we call it motor oil? Like he got the trump card out, right? That's his ace of spades, right? Checkmate.
Spike the football.
Right. Negative, because motor oil, you're basically, motor would be the adjective then at that point, and the noun is going to be the oil. So when you motor, that's like it's a mode of transportation. It's just a describing. It's a motive of something. So motor oil, that's the reason why. So one's an adjective. Motor can be used as an adjective when describing something, like motor cycle. It is a cycle that is motivated. So there's your adjective and your noun. So enjoy. I hope that I get more emails from you, because I'm looking forward to it. Oh man. Okay. So what did I miss here? M1 intake. Mostly old parts and rust. I had a big score last Friday night. I found an M1 LA intake off of Magnum. Wow. Offset thermostat located and Magnum by. Wow. That is awesome.
So it has a thermostat like where the late 70s intakes did, the little smaller one that was all set to the side.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That is awesome, man. That is good.
Cool. That's a good find.
Yeah, that is a good find. See if I missed anything.
But it's LA. It's not Magnum, so it has the bolts that go into the 45, right?
Oh yeah. So it's LA with the Magnum offset thermostat. Yeah, and it's already been converted. So yeah, excellent. That is awesome. You cannot. You got an extra Dana laying around.
That's what happens when you have that Lenko in a big block.
Yeah. Foot doing 8 3/4. Yeah. 8 3/4 are kind of on a time clock. Even on the Cookie Monster, with that car as light as it was literally 2 seasons, and that was it. And I cryo freezed and I heated them up, and that's all they would last. So yeah.
Speaking of that, I have something interesting I'll share.
Sure, what you got?
So our friend at Tony's Hot Rod Garage found something for me. You do not see these very often because they only did it for 3 years.
John Wilburn?
8 3/4 housing for a van.
Wow.
Those are uncommon.
Very much so.
Yeah, because they don't 72, 3, and 4 were the only 3 years you could get them. This is out of 74.
Wow.
And the center section was gone, but who cares? That's universal. But that is really cool. So
What's the axle width on that? Is that a truck
I don't
size?
I don't have the width yet, but vans are funky. They have different shock mounts, and everything is a little different on
I
a van
noticed
housing.
I noticed the spring purchase, how far in they are.
Right, right. But that is this thing. I should format it before I put it up here. But that is you know what? I've only seen 3 of these in my life, so I haven't even noticed that. But you're right. It's different
Yeah.
than a truck.
Different than a truck. Yeah, truck's farther out. Weird. Well, that's awesome. So you're gonna go 323, 276.
I have no. I'm going to go 391 because I'm going to do it with a 518.
Ooh, that's right, huh?
And lock
What's
up and all that good stuff.
what size tire? Diameter tire?
Oh, well, what's on it now is a 235, 75, 15,
Okay, so pretty
which
good
is
size.
like a 28-ish or something.
Yeah, 28. So that, yeah, 391 would be perfect. For mine is
That's a
only
nice
20.
cruising RPM.
Yeah, mine's 26 diameter, so I'm gonna go with the 355 gear,
Yeah.
and that puts me right at about 2300, right at that 80-mile-an-hour mark. So
This
yeah.
van will be my tow rig. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
got an 8 1/4 in it. And the 8 1/4 is no slouch if you take care of it, but it's not suitable for towing in an application like that. And it has a 294 gear.
Oh yeah.
And while I love the 999 transmission, that really isn't either.
No.
So we're upgrading the whole program.
Yeah, that's awesome. See if came on through. Anyone?
But Ron
Anyone?
Ward says that's a 29 because Ron Ward is the man.
What's it, 29? Okay, perfect.
29
Thank
in the
you.
tire.
Leave the Shane to turn engineering comment into an English session of sorts. Well, place, good sir, well played. Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, man. I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules. But thank you.
We've both been trying to flex our grammatical muscle lately.
Oh
I
man.
had to get creative on these rules, so
And
I got to
I'm
make sure
just
to
not
keep them functional.
I'm not a wordsmith like you are. I just know what to say. But yeah, putting it together to make it as eloquently, nah, it's not my thing. That's why I have other people for that. I don't want to waste those brain cells.
Well, that's the great thing about this community is there's always somebody who's good at the things that not all of us are, right?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we're in it a little bit. There's actually
Yeah.
one more I wanted to address. That we have a person who's new to the channel, and I'm just going to go by. His name is James. Um, and I had to unpack this question because it's really big. It says, "Hello, my name is James. I came across your YouTube channel, and I just started experimenting with Slant sixes. I recently bought a 65 Valiant one. I want to restore to 225. In your experience, what combination of parts would you suggest for a daily driver that would do well on the roads and most highways?" I responded, James, that is not an easy question to answer and narrow it down to just a pile of parts. I said I will do a Wednesday night tech talk tonight, and I'll answer your question live. So basically, what I would do as far as I would do just like I'm doing for Gilbert Slanted Sled, I would basically just cut back the valves, do a hardened seats on the valves. I would do a cam that's going to be somewhere in the 210, 212 on the intake. I would put it on a 110 LSA. I would split it by about 4 or 5 degrees on the exhaust. It really comes down to what exhaust you're going to run, but I highly recommend the TTI manifold back. I would run a 2 barrel of some sort. Personal reasons, I would go with probably the Holly 2 barrel. The Mopar one always seems to have a flat spot. You can move the flat spot around, but it's just going to be there. Are you going to have it the high RPM or the mid, whatever? That's what I would do. And as far as the transmission, and I would be about 9-to-1 compression or under, personally. As far as a distributor, I just did a couple videos on it. You're obviously on my channel. I'm putting up a video right now of how to balance. Oh, I just did on how to balance the rods. I'm doing one how to blueprint an oil pump on a Slant 6. I just finished filming that, so you can check that out. And as far as the transmission, I would do a 904, obviously, but I would put the A99 internals in it and have a lockup converter. If it's a driveway and the highway, key thing is 276 gears, because when you put the when you put the 277 first in there, it really has no problem getting out of its own way. There's plenty of torque in that thing. And I know that's a lot, and I did that really fast. But I will send a link with this little strap there, and then I'll send you some videos. But James, that's what I would do. So
if you
hopefully,
need any help with that conversion, putting the low gear set in the Slant 6 transmission, I've done that on my channel. And if automatics scare you, don't worry. They're not. If you can do a carburetor or a valve body, you can do a torque light.
yeah, exactly. And it's really simple. In fact, I have done it in the car on the
Yeah, you
field.
could. Yeah,
Sure
can.
I had the engine out, and I didn't want to take the tranny out because I don't want to make a bunch of lines. I literally did it in there. Obviously, I had to drop the pan and the valve body, but I did it in the car. So, Ron's asking me, Shane, what is comp effort for compatible with the original Big Block Mopar direct connection 484 284 cam with a 108 LSA? You know what? I was actually just looking at this just the other day, but I'm not sure if it's a 108. I think it's on a 110. I think you can have it made on a 108.
That's a popular cam.
Yeah, I think it's. I was just looking at it just the other day because I was like, man, this is like the perfect cam for everyone. But Ron, I'll get it for you. I don't want to look it up while we're doing this, but I believe we have something for it, and then we also have a reproduction one, which is like the old 6-pack cam too. I think is what they have, and it really comes pretty close. I brought my Bible down and I kind of checked them out, so it's pretty close. All right. Well, we got a few people in here. All right, Maestro, you're up. I'm going to let Mr. John Wilburn bring her the No Name Nationals.
I had suggested to Professor P, I said, hey, we have a goal, which we have met, of getting the 2024 monkey bike class rules dropped by the end of January. So I said to you, about a week or so ago, or 2 or 3 or whatever, I said, hey, let's drop them on Wednesday the 31st, because that's the Wednesday. We can go over them immediately thereafter on the Tech Talk Live.
Yep.
So here they are. For those of you in the comments who may be monkey bikers yourselves or want to be, you can go to nonamenationals.com and you can print this off. But here it is in a nutshell. So do you want me to go each section and we talk about what went into the section?
Yes, let's do that. So that way they know what the madness behind it.
Now, the rules, because this is very significant change. This is not like 1 or 2 little revisions. This is a really significant change to the class. So we're going to go over it section by section. And the preamble says the 2024 edition of the Monkey Bike Challenge will be run at the 3rd annual AHRA No Name Nationals on September 21st, 2024 at Skelton Raceway at Sikeston Drag Strip, Sikeston, Missouri. Building upon the success of the first 2 seasons of the Heads Up Monkey Bike class, the 3rd installment will liberalize the rules to encourage creativity and competition while maintaining the class's excellent safety standards. Now, general rules. We'll get this out of the way, and then we will explain why. So don't rebel on this yet. Yeah. Stick with us. This will be a 330-foot race. Just like the 300-foot drag strips are kind of coming into their own. The purpose for that is it allows really quick cars to run and keep the speeds down.
Yeah.
The thing about monkey bike historically has been the speed factors. This is going to be a 330-foot race run on a pro tree with a 45-mile-an-hour breakout enforced the entire track. Now, if you have something that can go from 0 to 45 under these rules in 330 feet, you're something, right?
Yeah.
So this is going to be a quick class. All right. No running starts. So the pedaling off the line to try to make up for lack of clutch development, lack of torque is gone. You can push off, but once your foot comes off that track, that's it.
Mm-hmm. So do you mind if I jump in here real quick on this?
I was just going to say neither foot may be put down while the bike is moving. That's the general section. What you got?
Yes, exactly. That's what I was going to say too, is that, they can't be put down. So, once you leave the line, that's it. You can kind of do a push off. You can figure it out, but no running. And the reason for this, the reason why I was suggesting this is because we want the whole idea of a drag race is an acceleration contest, not a top end contest. I mean, you're dealing with something that's very small, very light. And so we want to see reaction times. We want to see an acceleration to where they're going. So
Right.
this way you can come out with the turbo, you can come out with the nitrous, you can come out with all that and actually use it and see what these things can really do. And that way 330 is just enough time to get up to that 45 mile an hour and with one of these, because after 45 miles an hour you're dealing with something that's really sketchy. If you've ever ridden a mini bike, I have, so that's the reason why I came up with that. So but yeah, that was the main thing, was obviously too, when you read these, there's a lot of safety in this, because we want to make sure that this continues.
Right. Well, I mean, think of it like this. And Ron Ward, yes, Sykes does have a 330 foot clock. It was not working because of the lightning strike at the second annual No Name Nationals. I talked to the new track owner today, and it is working today. It will be fine. That's important, though. But yes. Now, think of it like this: the gear jammer classes. If any of you have ever gone and seen the classic gear jammers, stick shift champion series, Ozark, any of those series that run the 4-speed cars, they're all run on the 8th mile. And you don't want them run on a quarter mile. No. Because what would happen is they'd have to take so much gear out of those cars that they wouldn't run like you're used to them running. The 8th mile is the wild part of those cars.
Yep.
So we think that this 330 foot race is going to really make these bikes pop, because now you're only holding them together for 330 feet and you can build them accordingly.
That's correct.
Moving on, the frame. So one of the sticking points that we had with the Coleman CT100U, you got to remember, the monkey bike class was first developed beginning in the spring of 2021. The world was a different place in 2021. If you've been grocery shopping since the spring of 2021, you know this. The CT100U used to be, you could walk into any Tractor Supply on earth and walk out $399, lock, stock, and barrel, done. Those days are over. These things are hard to find for 500 plus looking online. It's just things have changed. And so to help with that supply problem, that's part of it. And the other is there's so much other good stuff out there that it makes sense to let it run together. So the frame says any two-wheeled mini bike frame may be used.
So like Frames, this, I'm gonna go full John Wilbur. Yep. And I took some. I went on. Make sure I'm going to go the right way. So what I did is I went on Facebook Marketplace, and I kind of went through a bunch of these. And so some of these $400. This one they wanted to get free, just get it out of there. $250.
Yep.
So, and the list goes on and on and on. Here's an actual the Coleman one, right? That's a Coleman that I found used for $400. So they're out there. Any type of mini bike like that.
Ron, don't worry, we're getting there. We're getting there. Okay. Frame. Any two-wheel mini bike frame may be used. Frame structure must maintain stock length and width, excluding brackets and tabs, etc. I did not say forks. I said frame. Okay. No excessive lightning is allowed, and Events Tech inspection will have final discretion as to structural suitability. So if you come in there with a Plan Z looking frame, Deke can reject it. But
the greatest reference I've ever heard.
I had to do it. But no, you got to be smart about lightning this thing. You don't want to be going those kind of speeds that close to the ground and have something come apart because you wanted to take 3 grams off of it, right? I mean, we're not lightning pistons here. Your life's riding on that thing.
Yeah.
Now, no suspension is allowed. Okay. That's going to really change a lot of things. It's going to keep people from getting these exotic dirt bikes and crazy weight transfers and all of that stuff out of it. No suspension. And I was looking around, the vast majority of these things don't have suspension.
Yep.
No motorcycle or dirt bike frames are allowed. But I got to tell you, you're not going to want one, because if you look at the weight difference between that and the mini bikes, if you want to win, you wouldn't do it anyway, but they're not allowed.
Yep.
Any other thoughts on the frame, Professor?
Yeah, no, this was a big thing for me too, and I like that. So that way, there's no welding. No one's welding up their own frame, stretching it, doing this. The frame just has to stay stock. Obviously, like I was telling John, just tabs. So that way, if they need to put foot tabs on it or tabs for the engine or whatever they need to
Yep.
do, that's fine. But just I didn't want things stretched out, widened. Big slick. Car tire on the rear. I just didn't want anything stupid like that.
But if you did, you're just guaranteeing you can't win. I
That's right.
mean, why do you want to spin that thing? But anyway, hey, whatever you want to do.
Hmm.
There aren't any more rules on wheels and tires anymore. We can't let you take studded snow tires out there and tear up the track. Come on, you guys know better than that. But we've not put those specific restrictions on wheels and tires anymore because we figure that takes that. The front fork suspension is not on many of them at all.
That's right.
So fixed forks. The weight. Bike with rider must weigh a minimum of 230 pounds at the conclusion of every run. Is Deke going to want to weigh him every run? I don't know. I doubt it, but it's up to you. Weight may be checked at any time during event, so it could be. So just keep it honest. But 230 pounds is, most people can't meet that without a bike. So don't even, I wouldn't stress it. Just know that's what it's got to be. I know that Damien from Mopar's Mustangs and Minivans, he had to wear a big heavy chain for a belt. He needed about 10 more pounds. So, and Roland, I think Roland had to carry some ballast too. But let's see. Any ballast must be bolted securely to the frame or an approved ballast box. Now, the engine. Here we go. So I'm some of these in the chat I'm ignoring for that purpose because we're coming to them. Bike may run only one engine, so you can't do the old tractor pull thing,
And you'll see why in just a minute.
Oh yeah. Any 2 or 4-stroke cycle single cylinder engine is permitted to a limit of 236 cc's. Now, for those of you who like to build this kind of stuff, you should be just like, oh yeah, because you've got some latitude to do some stuff with that.
Mm-hmm.
So one engine, 2 or 4-stroke. Imagine having those things in 2-stroke. That'd be wild, wouldn't it? Single cylinder up to a limit of 236 cc's. Entries of 100 cc's and smaller may run power adders. Entries over 100 cc's must run naturally aspirated. So just like all of these, high-level streetcar classes and stuff, we're doing the same thing. Smaller engine can run the nitrous or the turbo or the supercharger or whatever. The mountain motors run naturally aspirated. It's your choice.
Yeah.
You figure it out. Fuel. Any gasoline, methanol, or alcohol is prohibited. Nitromethane or any monopropellant is expressly prohibited. So you can't run benzene, hydrazine, rocket fuel, nitromethane, but you can run gas, alcohol, methanol. All that's fine. Gearing. Any final drive is allowed, but transmissions are not allowed, and no shifting of gears automatically or manually is allowed. Chain drive only. Belt drives are not allowed. Centrifugal clutch only. Chain and clutch must be covered by a guard.
Mm-hmm.
Did you tell them some of the rationale? That was probably the hardest part of these rules to figure out.
Yeah. Okay. So there was a few things too, is that because of the 236, a lot of people are going to be going out and possibly buying a Harbor Freight engine, right? Well, a lot of those come with basically like a belt drive that has like an automatic clutch on it that will have basically it's a CVT, it's a constant velocity transmission. So essentially it's a gear. That's why I didn't want belts. I wanted a chain for that reason, but because there was a chain, I didn't want people to show up with like a 10-speed chain system to where they could just start, start knocking down the gears. And also to no transmissions, because I didn't want people shifting gears. I wanted a little bit more into the engine, clutch setup as far as the automatic clutch. So that way that was still preserves some of the originality of the rules for that. But this way it comes down to how you set up the engine, how the clutch is set up, the gearing, and the tire. And then what was there? There was one more thing too. Any final drive is allowed, so that comes down to you can change gearing, throughout the day, but once you set it, it's set it and
Yep.
forget it. It's the Showtime stopper, oven right now at this time. You just
Right.
get it up there, and then obviously now I'm not going to point out who it was, but there was a time where I saw someone making a clutch and chain guard with some plastic, that was basically out of a um, what was clothes hamper. Yeah, we want something a little bit more substantial than that. Okay. And remember, this is your safety. And I get
Right.
it that some of us kind of just throw that to the wind, but we want this event to keep going. So the last thing we want to do is have anyone hurt. And so that's the whole reason for this too, is just to kind of keep the speeds down. And this will put more thought into it. Also, too, two strokes obviously make a little bit more power than four strokes per given, type of cc's, let's put it that way. But most two strokes are going to be attached to some sort of transmission, so that kind of eliminates that. So you can play with some of the two strokes, but you're going to have to find one that's just an engine by itself. Second, I didn't want people just going out and getting a three-wheeler 110 type of transmission setup, like out of a three-wheeler or like whatever, that had like an automatic clutch, so technically it's centrifugal clutch, and that had three gears in it. That was the whole idea of that. So that way you take away that whole power unit type thing to put it in there. So that, once again, to keep the speeds down. That was my rationale behind it.
Safety equipment. Full face helmet this year, but you can run open visor. The last thing I could possibly live with is watching one of you guys go down and take such a hit like that without a full face helmet. Full face helmet, but you can run open visor. Closed toed shoes, no sandals, flip flops, Jerusalem Cruisers, Crocs, or any of that stuff. You guys know better. Closed toed shoes, long pants, long sleeves, and gloves are required. All skin's got to be covered. Leather jacket required for those running power adders. If you want to run your stuff so hard it could blow up, we salute you, but we want you to stay safe from shrapnel. And also you'll need, of course, as last year, same thing, dead man switch that kills ignition in the event of rider being ejected from the bike. That is required.
Yeah. So,
Buick Smith, are you wanting to run propane?
Yeah. I mean, I was looking right at that myself too. It's going to be heavy. It's going to be really heavy. Do you think we'll have some? Yeah. Will there be any?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
Well, I put on here, so I put eliminations September 21st to Saturday. Okay. But understand that you will have opportunities to get these on the tracks both days. That's not even a problem.
Yeah. There's actually a question here too. Single clutch or more?
Well, one thing that's important, I want to cut into Professor P here just as a reminder.
Sure.
Because we love talking about technology, but this is not the place to try to milk a competitive advantage. You can learn about it, but you can't get us to help you interpret the rules.
Yes.
What do they say? What do they not say?
Agreed. and you know what? I got to tell you,
if you have a safety thing that needs interpretation,
yeah,
pop it up to me. I'll get it to Deke. Because we don't want anybody getting hurt. But
yeah,
for everything else, what does it say? What does it not say?
That's exactly what I was going to say again. And we've already, John and I have already talked privately about what we think the winning combination will be.
Yeah, it's all kinds of things it could be.
Yeah, it could be.
I've talked to some. It's very interesting because these rules are really, when you look at them, they are really wide open.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what, there actually was a ton of room for innovation in the monkey bike spec class from 2022 and 2023. Man, this just leaves the door wide open.
Yeah. And it's an awesome class for creativity. And that's what, when John approached me to this, I really spent a lot of time on this, thinking about, and it wasn't just me, that was both of us going back and forth, but a lot of this was just for that reason, is I wanted to, how could we kill some of the things that, so people don't go on these outliers, but yet there's a lot of creativity and room in there. So there's a safety feature like the general one, the 45-mile-an-hour rule.
Mhm.
Most of these people are going to be making, about 12 horsepower, 15 horse at the max at 230 pounds, accelerating 330 feet. You're going to be right at about that 45-mile-an-hour mark. And that's kind of what we wanted. We wanted to be on that high end
Now,
of that spectrum.
interesting. Like Kim says, those are huge changes. Yes. Now, there's a 45-mile-an-hour breakout. And I will tell you this. We have given a percentage, okay? I cannot give you that percentage and will not give you that. Because if I give you the percentage,
You're
it
going
would
to
be
hit that.
exactly like asking a cop, hey, exactly how many miles an hour over the speed limit can I go before I get pulled over?
Yeah.
So understand, we have a percentage of grace that we're not going to give it to you. So what I'm going to tell you right now is don't worry about hitting 46 and getting thrown out. But 45 is your breakout, and we have a fixed grace that will be applied across the board. And don't push it. We just don't want anybody getting hurt.
I like this. Thank you. That was the whole point.
Yes.
Is it starting to sound
Yes,
like
it is. Now, Kim, I'll also say, while they're huge changes, these rules are really written to where somebody with the Coleman CT100U already has the lightest bike and already has the displacement limit for power adders already there. So these were written with great consideration to people who had bikes in 2022 and 2023.
which was very hard
Yes.
to do.
Well, I don't know. If you have a Coleman CT100U, you're probably not in a bad place at all to start.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a cool question. What ETs do you think you'll see?
Can't even imagine.
I'm going to go on a limb and say somewhere in the 4.
No.
I-
You
In
think?
in the 330?
Well, see, if I try to think about what they've done years past, I think they were running around, was it 17s in the eighth? Something
Yeah.
like that. Okay.
Hmm.
But the thing is that under those old rules, the clutch development wasn't anywhere near,
Exactly.
and the engine and the torque. So I can't even imagine. You guys are going to tell us this.
Yeah.
We're setting the precedent here.
Yeah. I was aiming high. I wanted to see what you would say personally.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
um, Dizzy, a 125 with a variable clutch? No, it's got to be a centrifugal clutch. Something like that.
What is 125?
CC 125, like a two-stroke 125 out of a dirt bike.
You could run a 125cc, but it would have to be naturally aspirated.
And it can't be it can't be attached to a transmission. That's the key. That's what makes this a little bit, that's where the gray area comes in. So you would have to physically take that engine, take the sealed unit that's part of that, take off the whole transmission part of it, and then use it just like that and somehow attach a centrifugal clutch to it. So that's where the magic will come in.
So, Junkyard D, here's the deal. We're not going to let you guys try to get us to interpret the rules for you. But here's the deal. We don't turn on the scoreboards at No Name Nationals, but you do get your time slips and tickets, and you can share whatever you want on your channel. You get both sides of the run, everything. Okay, there's nothing to hide. We just don't put them on the boards. Now, like we said, there's a 45-mile-an-hour breakout, and we're going to enforce it on the whole track. Okay? Now, we do have a little bit of grace built into that. And if you get your time slip and you see it, and we don't come to you and say, hey, you break out, you're okay. All right, we'll tell you because we're going to get the mile an hour in the tower.
Yep.
So just like I said, prepare for that breakout. But here's the thing. If you can break out 45 miles an hour and 330 feet, you're doing pretty awesome. So I think for this year, I don't think we have to refine it any further than that.
Yeah.
Because it was taken, we didn't have anybody hit 45 in an eighth of a mile last year. So,
yeah. Junior dragster engine,
single cylinder. Yeah, up to 236. Let me tell you, Max Wedge Dick Dastardly, you've done a lot of racing. Do you want junior dragsters to come in there?
Right. It's a pain, dude. They're annoying. I mean, I love it, the fact that they're racing.
I agree.
But that whole system of getting them in, out, the whole startup process, and that whole pop.
This is what I don't like. I don't want to see a bunch of people bring those things in there and have the dance mom starting line crew for an hour every round, that kind of
Oh
thing.
man.
And so that's what just and everybody who races is like, oh gosh, thank you for keeping that out. I like the junior dragsters. I think they're great. If a
Hmm.
kid with a junior dragster, wants to come out and hang out, they can watch, but we don't have that stuff in the field for this reason.
Yeah. And they show up, and here's the thing that we hated about it when I was at my home track at Verona. They would show up and they would have plastic wrapped around the tires. They would have a golf cart for one car. They would have a golf cart. They would have and then the golf cart would be towing the car, and there would be a thing in front so that way you could start it. Then they would have a person on a bicycle. Then they would have two people walk out there. One person does the burnout, then they're lining them up. It's a whole parade, literally like a top fuel car. It's just as loud
Longer,
as one.
longer. It
it's
takes more time than a top fuel. I'm
it's just
convinced.
ridiculous. I mean,
Uh,
and like I said, I give it awesome, bravo. We
Tim,
just don't need
thank
it
you.
this event.
This actually is fewer words. I don't have a copy. Yes, I do. This is the rules for 2022-3. Here's the rules for 2024. It's actually fewer words.
Yeah.
There are actually slightly fewer rules. But our ideas is just maximum creativity and still give you enough guardrails that your uber competitive selves will not wind up, turning into pink mist.
Also, too, I was thinking about one more thing is that everybody's got the whole point of this is no name national. So that way people have YouTube channels. This way you can document your build to the nth degree because now you have the whole all the way until September to build this thing. So now
Yep.
you can go back for the next few weeks, plan your stuff out and start building it. And you have a whole, playlist of just building this thing and to what the rules say and what they don't say. Have at it. Have fun. That was
You
the
know,
whole point of it.
it took us a little while on these rules. We knew it would, but it would be worth the wait. And this is why it took a while, because these are significant changes. And so the technical part of it, because of his experience, I was leaning to Professor P to help me get the technical part of it. But then I've been talking with the track, everybody, track, insurance, Dallas, Deke, everybody, track owner, making sure that we have everybody's angle on this and right. Now, we put a lot of effort into this because even though it's not cars and a lot of people don't understand this, they think of this somehow as a minor class. The fact is that from a safety perspective, this has a lot of considerations.
Yeah.
I think there's significantly more safety considerations with the monkey bike than there is a slower car that doesn't need a cage.
Hmm.
So we just want everybody to be safe and still be able to really be creative. And these rules allow for an enormous amount of creativity.
And I kind of went out and did some pricing on a few things, and that's the reason why I went to Marketplace and I was looking at this. What John and I both think could be a winning combination could be had, built, and done if you get the vehicle correctly, as far as from Marketplace, for well under $800. Seeing it when I say well under, I mean well under. I found them getting the bike is the biggest expense. Everything else after that is literally $300 or $400. So yeah. Oh, yeah. See, boss has a pair of Italian 125 two-stroke horizontal shaft air-cooled engines. Going to talk with him about loading one onto the rough frame he has laying around. But isn't that this is Ron? He's going to be announcing, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
see,
you're going to be.
he's dying to come down there and get a monkey bike now.
Ron, how about this? If you want to race, I'll announce the monkey bike if you want to get into racing. How
Ron,
about
if,
that?
if you want to make a pass, we'll cover for you.
Yeah, we'll make it happen,
You
dude.
know,
You've been up in that tower literally from beginning to end. So you want to do it, have at it.
yeah. Now, again, Junkyard D asks an interesting question, and by and large, a lot of them I'm just going to ignore for good reason. But
Uh-huh.
this one I think is valid because it is a big part of what the rules hinge on. I'll get your thoughts on this, Professor P. I have some too. What do you think about this? If you want to do a scratch made frame,
I didn't want to do that because I wanted people to be able to get into this a little cheaper. Um, I don't know. I mean, it's your wheelhouse. I was trying to do it from a safety spec, because what if a person's welding skills are not up to par? I mean, anyone who probably tackles this could do it. Um, hmm,
Here's the thing about a custom frame. You
hmm,
still have to meet the minimum weight, and I would
yeah,
hate for you to come all the way to Sikeston, Missouri, and not pass welding spec on your
yeah,
frame.
yeah.
If
We'll
you
be able to
have a
spot it.
commercially manufactured frame, you avoid that.
Yeah, because I think when we're doing some of this stuff, Deke's a great guy. I'm going to be there, obviously helping with this one, just because I helped write these rules. So there'll be a couple of us going around there just to make sure that this is. Um, and I have my own weights. I have my own scales, so we could scale at any time. Just know that it can be
Mhm.
scaled. You can be scaled at any time.
Yeah,
Oh
we're gonna weigh them. We could weigh randomly at any time, but the biggest thing is we don't want anybody getting hurt.
yeah, yeah, exactly. My girlfriend weighs 94 pounds.
Probably needs a helmet made out of lead.
Right. Oh man.
And no, Ron, if she has her dog, on the bike too, it's probably still not enough ballast.
Substitute rider? A little tag
A
in?
jockey rider? Well, I'll say this, Dizzy. If you wanted to field a monkey bike and you wanted to have a jockey rider, and somebody else, say, has a channel and their vehicle doesn't make it, and
Ooh.
they're eligible, they could be your jockey rider because
Oh,
we have done that before.
that'd be a party. That would be a party down the track for
You could
330
do
feet.
that. You could do that. But
You
that rider still has to be eligible.
Yeah. Oh, the only thing I didn't see on here, but I think we'll just address is that you have to have a valid driver's license, just and all that other stuff, just like a regular rules, right? Or
Yeah, the track insurance is really
yes,
what dictates a lot of this stuff.
yes. And how you doing, Mr. Mopar? Good to see you in here.
Thanks for stopping by, huh?
And a bike can be a
Al,
negative.
Al, since you're just swinging in here, we have new revised rules for the monkey bike class, and I got to tell you, they're interesting. So even if you don't think you want to do a monkey bike yet, check them out. I'm pretty excited about them.
The only sad thing about it is that I wrote the rules, and I helped with writing the rules, and I was just like, man, this would be awesome to do it. And I'm not going to go. I'm not going to get into it. So because I'm going to help field the thing, but it's one of those things that it's so awesome that I would want to do it. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah, it's
Hmm.
good stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, if anyone got any other comments or questions about
One
any of
thing I
that?
one thing I'll put out there is since this year we're opening this up to 2 and 4 stroke cycle,
Yeah.
I think it would be a good tech topic to talk about 2 cycle and why somebody might want to go with that.
Oh yeah. We'll get into that right now.
Yeah.
If there's a few people out there who don't know what two strokes are, a four stroke, you have an intake, compression, power, exhaust, basically suck, squeeze, bang, blow. And if you want to do it the other way, a two stroke, and so you're basically having a piston come down. Every other stroke is going to be on a power stroke. On a two stroke, you have ports on the side. You usually have some sort of reed valve. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. The fuel usually goes into the crankcase. It comes up on ports onto the side, and then every time the piston comes down, it's on a power stroke. So you have less moving parts. Literally, you have a crankshaft, a rod, and a piston. Some have a power valve, some don't, but literally that's really it. You don't nearly get the actual compression like you would out of a four stroke, but you're going to get the RPM. And every time the piston comes down, you're on a power stroke. So they make an incredible amount of torque. Also, too, you can like tune in a power band on them. But that all being said, um, sometimes even though they sound like they're really high in the RPMs, they technically aren't, because remember it's twice as sounds twice as fast as a four stroke. So sometimes they if they don't have a power valve, they usually run out of poop on the top end. I know a lot of my 500s they sounded awesome, hey, it's 10,000 RPM. Yeah, well, it's probably really not, because it's a two stroke. So
Hey, Ron Ward. I like how Ron Ward phrases this. I'm going to turn it around. You know how you can rearrange your equation however you want. I'm going
yep.
to rearrange Ron Ward's equation there. He says gearing is going to be the challenge to keep it under 45. I say that gearing to keep it under 45, traction is going to be the challenge.
Yeah,
How about that?
that is correct. That was part of the um,
Right.
part of the fun. And two,
It is. This is all you guys got to figure this out. And remember, your testing that you're going to do on this thing is probably going to be, I don't think I want to know where, but it's probably not going to be on a sticky prepped track.
yes.
And I will tell you now that I talked to the track owner this afternoon. That track is not like it was when we were there. We were there, that track had been out of service for 3 months.
Hmm.
Now it is really sticky. And they're running through the winter and everything. So you're going to be, that'll be the stickiest place that's ever tested. So keep that in mind when you're building.
Here's a good one.
What does it and doesn't it say in here?
Exactly. What doesn't it say?
Now, I shouldn't have to tell you that wrong, Ward. You know how that works. You're a tech inspector.
There was a reason why things were written the way they are.
We didn't permit the frame to be painted green, but we also didn't prohibit it from being painted green.
Oh, that's
New
funny.
wheel and gear options, yes.
Oh man,
Yes.
that's good.
I recommend round for wheels.
Right. Oh
It
man,
does
this is
say
gonna
2
be.
wheels. That is correct. It does say 2 wheels. You cannot put a set of snowmobile skis on the front. You do have
Yeah.
to have 2 wheels.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, for those who just want to say it didn't say I couldn't, don't do anything to get yourself or the person in the other lane or a spectator hurt.
Yeah.
Because if you guys will engage in this in the spirit of the rules, then it's going to go a long way toward,
Yeah.
toward having this again. Yes, you have to have brakes.
Yeah. I mean,
Of
come
some
on.
kind.
And that's one of those things you just don't have to put in there, but you got to have at least brakes on at least one of the wheels because all the mini bikes have at least one. Usually it's just a pad that goes up against the tire that you
Right.
hit. So, um, um, I was thinking a wheelie bar would make it 3 wheels, but the wheelie bar can't touch the ground. Only 2 wheels would touch the ground at any given time if the wheelie
Do,
bar
do
is
you
correct.
really want a wheelie bar? Because is this thing going to have enough power to power wheelie anyway? It's
Right.
just a thought. Because remember, most people are going to be over the weight minimum anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm over the weight minimum without the bike at all. So,
Hmm.
so most people, the weight is going to become the factor. Minimum, maximum, there are no minimum, maximum tire sizes.
No.
It's up to
Remember,
you.
it's a speed contest,
That's right.
acceleration contest. No, I'm sorry, we're not the Bonneville. So,
Right.
um,
See, there are some rules here that are going to be kind of help self-govern the rest of them.
mhm.
If you want to run a 40-inch tall tire, well, that's probably just going to be to your detriment.
But do you have to use both wheels? I think he's talking about. Right?
Are you going to be able to make enough power on one cylinder to power wheelie 330 feet?
Right. More Morales, Shane gonna bring the charger again. That's a big fat negative. Ethan wants a rematch. A couple of go fast parts. Um, the charger was basically just kind of a backup plan, and it was really a test bed. It didn't have a great combination, but we were doing that on purpose because we were trying to build an engine that people had, and we were trying to make a converter for it. And I didn't finish my cars, but my goal is to have my 68 and my 66 there this year.
Oh, something else I'll let you guys know. So what I've done on these, if you'll notice, this is version 1.2 right there. As we make running changes for clarification, that kind of thing, if it's helpful to the crew, you can have minor changes like that. We're not going to do any sweeping changes. We're not going to back up and whole different engine. None of that, okay? But if there's something that we find that's an error, I'll make that change. I'll let people know. But that's why I put the version number at the top to make sure that everybody has the same sheet and we know which one is last.
Yeah, exactly. Um, Wheelie bar could have a Delrin scuff pad. It doesn't have to have a wheel on it. Exactly. I mean, I'm not sure. Do they allow the scuff pads on those plastic with the Teflon style
I don't know.
the track?
It
Hmm.
it could have a gnome out there on the end of it too. But yeah,
Right.
I don't know.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
everyone's gonna channel their inner Smoky Unikir, explore the gray areas. Correct.
yes. Thank you. He
Yes.
said it. Perfect. That was the whole point of it. That was I'm pretty sure that the last time that they did the monkey bike, that was what they were expecting. Well, this one here basically tells you to do that.
Uh,
That's exactly what we're trying to go.
Busy Izzy says expanding foam in the tires. Did we say you couldn't?
Yeah. Would you want to do that?
I wouldn't, but Busy might.
No. I don't know.
Thing is we do have to have an ultimate say on safety
Yeah.
when it comes to the track. But I
Hmm.
got to tell you, from my standpoint, all I really care about is it safe? If you come up with something that is safe, but it's something out of the box no one's thought of, congratulations.
Yeah. Now, obviously, we're just two guys, and we can't think of all the gray areas.
Right.
So there's going to be someone who's going to find something, and whatever. And this is absolutely correct. The devil's in the gray area,
Always
and,
has been.
and always has been. And like I said, we're not perfect. We wanted something to have so that way everybody can have fun.
When the chat just went into technical weird hour over this. Bicycle frame. See, Buick Smith, are you planning to use a bicycle frame?
Right? Oh man.
CBX 1050 road bike engine on a monkey bike. Is it single cylinder, Dougster? And how many cc's is it?
Yeah. That would be about 800 too much. Yeah. And that's the reason why we kind of did this is so that way we would have none of this stuff, because that thing would definitely haul ass.
What I'm gonna ask though, all kidding aside,
Hmm.
don't game this to something that's questionably safe. All
Yes.
right. Because we need this to go off and go off well and have twice as many bunkie bikes there and have a safe time, a fun time, and that will be a big deal.
Yeah. Junior Dragster engine is single cylinder. No, we fully understand that, but it's got four wheels.
Yeah, the Junior Dragster has four wheels.
Yes. All right. Andy, you're right. Man, we lit a fire under people.
How many cc's is that Junior Dragster engine?
They have a few of them. I don't know. I really don't know on those. They go all over the place. It depends on if you have like what they call Blockzilla. They have.
I can't believe no one has asked if I can take a V twin and cut it in half. And what I'm going to say is go for it.
Yeah, right.
Because
I was gonna say the same
no
thing
one's going
too.
to do it, but I want to see him try.
Yeah, and that's what I was hoping for is that someone would get really, really creative. Like something like that.
Yeah.
That would be fun. What's this one here? A 5-foot steam engine. It's a single.
Yeah, and show me one of those that's under 237, limit of 236 cc's.
That's right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. And remember that's going to be a push pull, so it doubles the cubic inches on that one.
Sub
And then,
rule needed. Yes, it's the same qualifications as any participant in the No Name Nationals. It's a class just like any other. You
yeah,
still need to have 500 subscribers to your channel and be a good community member and register just like anyone else.
yeah, exactly. Oh,
Where's Tall Barrage? It was not my turn to keep up with him, Colleen.
right. Right. Oh man, I'm. This is the first time I'm actually just kind of reading.
Isn't it wild?
Yeah,
Now you
it
know what
is
the
good.
Friday's like.
Should I tell them where I can? How
Yes, I
how?
was just going to say that's an excellent
Yes. Okay.
question for you.
So, doing this, I went around looking at possible engines. One of the most popular engines out there, obviously, is the 212 cc Harbor Freight, Predator engine. Well, they make a kit that you can buy. That's the most readily available one that goes right into that. It's 236 cc's. So that's how I came up with that. I went around and I looked at all of them. Now they have some that are like 250, 260, and all this other stuff. But the 236 was the most available drop-in kit that you could get if you wanted to go to the absolute limit. Mind you, though, that's about a $500 to $600 option on top of everything else. So, yeah, but that's how I came up with the 236. Is that way that kind of you can get and also too, just in case someone already had a 212. The reason why we just didn't make a 212 is in case someone already had a 212 and they needed to go the next size piston, put a sleeve, a crank, or whatever. They had something they wanted to fix it up. So this is the biggest that you can go with what you technically a stock block.
Andy, we reserve the right to inspect that by pump and gauge or tear down. What I'll say is that there's enough distinguishability on the outside of a lot of these, the way the cylinder sleeves are, that for the most part we may not have to. But that said, if we have any reason to believe or just randomly want to inspect for size, we can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, race weight 230.
230.
230.
230
Yep.
minimum.
Just like it was last year.
Now, I will say, if you say, because, 38 POS Wrestling, he's a tall guy. Okay. So I'd imagine he'd have trouble just his pure height making that weight. If there's another eligible channel you want to be your jockey driver, you could do that. It's been done before. Lars was a jockey for Dallas one time. Scott Schmidt, Heavens Mopars, he was a jockey for Dallas the year after that. Two Hacks Jeff was a jockey, I believe, for Kim Fixes Things. So we've had jockey drivers who are lighter like that.
Yeah.
I figured Junkyard D would be all about that.
No, you're not limited to a Predator style engine.
That was just an example.
Yeah, just an example. And the only reason why I did that is because, a lot of people don't have accessibility to a lot of different engines. So this is really an over-the-counter engine that's readily available that you can fix up.
Big Block 402, I'm late. What did I miss? Just everything. I will say, Stephen, the new monkey bike rules are up at nonamenationals.com, and they are very significant changes.
Yeah.
I think you'll like them. The monkey bike class is going to be very creative and competitive and wild this year.
Oh yeah, and just by judging what's going on in the chat right now, it made me feel even better. I'm so looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Jeff, he is the
yeah, exactly, Ron English. He had it in his belt loops. He had to have 10 pounds of chain just to get the weight minimum. Yes, he did. Right. He zip tied a chain in his belt loops to secure the chain so it couldn't come off on the track.
Oh,
that's
is that
how
for
he
real?
made the weight. Yeah.
Is that really for real?
Yes. Yes.
I thought you were kidding. No, that's for real.
That light, but he is apparently. I'm surprised Jeff made the weight minimum. I mean, just like barely.
No, because it has to be a CC engine, no motors.
Yeah,
it has to be an engine.
We don't have Tesla charging stations there for bikes.
And under engine, I made sure that it was written in here: bike may run on one engine, any 2 or 4 stroke style single cylinder engine. So engines are different than motors, and motors are different than engines. So that's in there twice.
Dizzy asks, "Gotta be gas." What I'm gonna read this. I'm just gonna read it as is and think about what was been said. Any gasoline, methanol, or alcohol is permitted. Nitromethane or any monopropellant is expressly prohibited.
Says it.
Says all it needs to say.
No, I will not, because just like with anything, if you help write some of the rules, it's not advantageous for that person to be in it. And I'm going to help John on this one, since I helped with a lot of the rules, and I kind of been around motorcycles my whole life. I'm going to help him out with this on this class. So that's going to be a negative for me on that one. I want to, believe me.
Professor P is going to have his hands full doing other cool things.
Yes. Yeah, even last year I had just the Charger. I'm gonna have 2 cars there this year. Um, hopefully, fingers crossed. 2 cars there, and plus the monkey bike. And you guys remember last year I had a Charger, and I was running around everywhere. I was, with Dallas and the tower, and scrounging up money from everybody so that
Yeah, I
way we could
remember
make
that.
a
Hey,
huge.
Colleen, please don't do that one again. That would be a horrible thing to have fall off on the track. Remember, it says ballast needs to be bolted to the frame or in an
Yep,
approved ballast box.
that's right. That's
And what
the
we'll do is we will be in the near future having Deke on. We try to have him on twice, once early in the season, once late in the season, so that he can go through rules. Deke is not your guy to try to get to help you with a competitive advantage to strategize. He's your guy to tell you whether or not it's going to be safe.
Yeah, right. Uh,
Doc, I have no. It wasn't my turn to watch Doctor Ron.
oh, that's funny. Yeah, he needs to be here. I like that. Uh, oh no, no 10 horsepower starter assist. Depends on how you're defining starter assist. Is that going to be power adders? Sure.
I got to tell you, if your starter is able to turn so fast that your engine is not trying to kick it back, I wouldn't want the battery that you're having to tow down that track. I just,
Yeah.
think about that.
Damien only weighs 130 pounds.
I literally weigh a little more than twice what Damien does.
Wow. Man.
Wow.
Oh, he's Dizzy saying thanks, guys. He missed the first 10 minutes. Okay.
Yes.
So you can go and print these off, right? They're up right now.
NoNameNationals.com. They are up.
So yeah, go to nonamenationals.com and the rules are up. So you can basically print them off and you can ask us questions right now. But once again, there's a lot of gray area here for a reason. There's a lot. So yeah.
Yep.
Oh, he's saying battery weight equals traction control.
That's right.
Yeah.
The purse is not much, Junkyard D. Monkey Bike was $100 to win last year, but that said, we do have seen Monkey Bike increase through people giving to the program, increasing the purse.
Yeah.
So just remember, like with cars, don't come as a business investment, come out of passion.
Yeah. And the whole idea of this is to build and have fun. If you're building it just to absolutely just annihilate, I mean, you want to try to be competitive and win. Everybody does.
Right.
But here's the thing is that you got to have fun too. That's
It's
the whole
just
point
fun.
of this.
Come
Yeah.
have fun.
Yeah. And remember how the environment was. Now that's what we're always trying to maintain. So we want to
Yes.
have a little creativity. And I was almost thinking about adding one more, but I didn't tell John this. I was going to wait until I was live on the air for this. I almost told him that we had to have mandatory themes, kind of like when you have the lemons. Each bike has to have a theme. You had to, like you would have the clown or the west or the rodeo or whatever guy.
It's funny you even said that because in my mind, knowing this crowd, it will anyway.
Oh yeah.
I'm not even kidding. Like the Junkyard D bike is going to have the Junkyard D thing. Like, I mean, all you have to do is just watch him, listen to him, and they all have so much personality. I don't think that's even a problem.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I'm thinking, man, you guys should do some themes because that would be fun. And then you know what? Here, how about this? Junkyard D is saying this right here. We need a bounty adder for what's TRP? What's that?
Torque Racing Production.
Okay. Then with a Slant Daily attached to the bike. Here's the thing. You have a Slant Daily garage sticker on your monkey bike and you have the best theme. We'll find something. It might be monetary. It might be something. It might be something else. Who knows? But Slant Daily garage sticker, the best theme going down the track. You're going to get something. Okay. How about that? Write that in the book. There it is.
Ron, you can register for yourself, but I'm going to tell you, if you wanted to do your own channel, that's a different matter. You're part of the One-Eyed Cat channel. You're in all of his videos, so.
How does okay, got to clarify a rule. Gasoline, methanol permitted, nitromethane, hazing, and all that. Clots?
What is clots? You talking about Cope's Detailer?
I've never heard of a clot.
His
That's
name
the
is
first one on me.
Clots.
I made a lot of cams for a lot of different engines running many different fuels. Klotz is the first time I've heard that one.
I mean, Brad Klontz, the pitcher, was just a little ahead of me at Virginia Tech. That's an unusual name. He says two-stroke oil. Ron says it's two-stroke oil.
Oh.
Of course they know that. Of course they know that. Yeah.
I'm picturing a two-wheel soapbox derby flying down the track.
Kinda.
But it has to have the frame, though. That kills that. Yeah. Oh, Junkyard D. Yes, you are correct. Don't forget the sticker. Yeah, that's going to go down in history in a few things there. Yeah. There's $1,000 right there. Didn't have a sticker.
Well, understand, if you read this, I'm telling you, this is very, it says fuel. Any gasoline, methanol, or alcohol is permitted. Nitromethane or any monopropellant, think rocket fuel or things that burn without oxygen, is expressly prohibited. It says what it needs to say.
Mm-hmm. And I like that you did the research into the monopropellant. Yes, I like that because I didn't even think of that. So that was a good one.
Well, sure enough, Dallas said, "Can I run a rocket?" I said, "No."
Check. Okay, so I got to put to Dallas because he's always on that rocket kick. You know what I mean? He loves those rockets.
We literally did the Wile E. Coyote thing with the monkey bike the first year. Did you see that? The video?
No.
Dude, we took 5 or 6 giant bottle rockets and attached them to the frame on his monkey bike. Oh, and wow. I lit him as he took off, and it visibly gave him some propulsion.
Wow.
It did, and it went away really quickly, but then they popped and sent a report back on the cameraman.
Oh.
That's on his channel. You can go see it.
Oh, I will definitely go look at that. The first year I was there only for the one day. I had just come back from drag week the week before, so I was a little burnt out. And
that was an exhibition thing. We didn't do that at the track. I will say that.
Oh,
that
okay,
was on the channel. We were just testing some things.
Oh, see, once again, here we go. Diesel fueled pulse jet. Technically that's an engine, but it's not a 2-stroke or a 4-stroke. So
I want to say how to clinch street machines and Mean Street Mopar. Mean Street Mopar needs 393 subs yet to punch his ticket.
Really?
And, get up on the wheel, Ken. It's February is in 2 hours and 47 minutes.
Mean Street. All right. All right. I just subscribed to you, bud, and I'm going to put you up here. Oh, and that was another thing one of my haters was commenting about. If the whole idea is to get 500 subscribers, then why do they talk about people getting subscribers? And you know why? I'll tell you why, because I know you're probably watching, Mr. Hater Guy. Is we're a family here and we're a community. People come here so they can watch, learn about stuff, and then go and build their stuff. And we want to support each other just like we do at the No Name Nationals. Probably the reason why you're not allowed there is that reason, because you're not a team, family, fun player guy.
Yeah, right. If I had to take like 2 or 3 guesses who that hater is, I would probably know who it is.
Probably.
I mean, most of the people that are not enjoying this and part of this, they're bitter because we're having so much fun and they just can't get themselves to be part of it. Max Wedge Dick Dastardly run a 4.2 because a 5.0 is really too much lever and you'll keep the overlap out of it with a 4.2.
Yes, exactly. And some cars, some transmissions benefit from a 3.8, 4.2. I always have them both, and I bring them to the track because sometimes I have to change it just because, you can tell. I've noticed that sometimes with different bands, if it's a rigid band, I like the 4.2. If it's semi-rigid, I like the 3.8. But it comes down to preference.
If I was picking between those two, I would always pick a 4.2.
Yeah, me too.
Especially because I just happen to know you're running a 727. You could probably get away with a 5-1 on a 904, but on the 727, the overlap is a thing with too big a lever.
Yeah. You know what's funny is that I remember searching high and low for the 5.0 lever because I
I did
had to
that
have it.
too. I did that too because that's what Hemi cars had. Well, that's it's good enough for a Hemi car. It's good enough for me. Just like we can run cam profiles that look a little more conservative now because the heads are so much better.
Yes,
Well, look, we're running better valve bodies and better friction materials now than ever before.
exactly.
So it's kind of changed the rest of the recipe a little bit.
Yeah. And it's funny how that goes now with people always talk about camshafts and they're like, oh, I remember running this and running that. And it's like, yeah, cams, you can take 30 degrees out of them now and they perform just about the same because of the
Yeah,
cylinder heads. It's
right.
100% correct.
Yes. Dougster, am I allowed to run a transmission like a 4-speed? No, sir. It's expressly prohibited to run a transmission.
Where did he,
Dougster there at 812.
okay. Oh, yeah,
This
I don't
evening
see it.
has flown so far.
I know. In
We've
fact,
had
I
so
was
much
just,
freaking fun with this.
yeah. Has to run on gas, compressed air. It literally says he will, I will repeat it this time so he doesn't have to repeat it. An engine, um, any gasoline, methanol, or alcohol is permitted. Is compressed air any one of those? And here's the thing: if you're using compressed air as a power adder, then you have to be under 100 cc's because there are people who run compressed air as a power adder. I've seen it. Um, yeah, so you can do that if you want, but how big and heavy is that tank? It's not ever worth it, personally.
I'm going to tell you when I think it was Bob Glidden, and this was in the 90s. He went over to help Larry Morgan's Pro Stock team.
Mm-hmm.
And what Bob Glidden did, they immediately got quicker, to no one's surprise, because Bob Glidden is there, right?
Yeah, right.
They immediately got like 500s quicker. And it wasn't because he brought any exotic things to the program. It was because he was really good at getting the most out of all the basic things. And that's what Bob Glidden did. And they immediately got quicker. So the moral of the story is rather than trying to look for the most crazy out of the box outer space thing that's going to win the monkey bike, think about all the little things that you can do to not lose it there.
Yeah. Oh, here we got one. Good one. The smallest MLS gasket I can find for 413 is 4250, but my bore size is 4185. How much compression will my 65 space? Remember, that's not just 65 thousandths on one side. You got to split that in half, and that's what's
Yeah.
going to be on either side. It's
You
really not going to
calculate
be.
that.
What's that?
You can calculate that.
Yeah, and you can calculate that exactly. So you just get the bore, the distance. If I had my calculator here, I'd do it for you. But really, it's not going to be much. You can, I think it's Summit Racing. I know Wallace Racing has one of those. Otherwise, I would do it for you here. Sorry, I
The
just don't have my.
simplest way to do that, Dougster, is you're just making two cylinders and stacking them on top of each other.
Yes.
The only difference is that one cylinder only has a depth of the compressed gasket,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it.
Yeah. Exactly. Funky monkey. Dexter, are you going to be there to get your funky monkey on? Oh, that's gonna be awesome. I'm telling you, it's only January. Is it September?
You've got 231 days, 2 hours and 41 minutes.
Yeah. Do you know that I've already taken my days off for that?
Yeah.
I took a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off for this one. And I'm pretty sure the wifey and the kids are going to be coming up on Thursday night. So to meet us up there for the Lambert's deal. So
I'm excited about the whole event. I'm excited about all the new faces coming to the event and familiar, and I'm excited about these changes to Monkey Bike. I'm excited about a lot of things this year. We got some other cool stuff in the hopper yet that we're not ready to it's not quite ready to go, not quite green lighted or developed, but we got some other cool stuff coming.
yes, and
He knows exactly what I'm talking about.
I got to tell you, this is just one little part. This is just Monkey Bike. This is just Monkey Bike.
If you've been saying for 2 years, I'm going to go to the No Name Nationals, this is the year to cash those chips and make it happen.
100%. Make sure you don't miss anything.
Yeah, because if you watch the footage after, you'll be like, "Ah, man, I should have been there."
Yeah, and you know what's funny about that too is that Dallas right now he's on a drag and drive event, right? And the first day he was telling me, man, this is not as friendly as the No Name Nationals. Every other word, part
Right.
of the sentence was like, it's not as awesome as No Name Nationals. And I was like, remember when I told you I've been to almost every single drag and drive. I've been to different events that are just weeks long, days long, whatever. And I remember what I came up and told you, John. This is the best
Yeah.
event I've ever been in.
It's
It's the
just it's
truth.
made for us.
Yeah.
This is made for us. It's not like we're just there fitting into something made for other people.
Kim is asking a question. I have a specific two-stroke which has an integral one-speed gearbox. That's a transmission. Sorry, no dice.
What is a
That's
one-speed gearbox, though?
it's going to basically be coming off of the gear. Sometimes they'll have a gear reduction, so they'll have a
Oh,
one
have a gear
gear and then a
reduction
big
there.
gear. Yeah, and then that's the shaft gear. I'm specifically taking those away because that's where a two-stroke shines. That's the reason why I said
You
that what I
you
did.
you could modify that to work.
As long as you take the jack gear out of it, which is that gear that comes off that, it would have to be a direct drive that goes right on the centrifugal clutch. The centrifugal clutch has to go onto the crankshaft. That's why we did no transmissions.
Yes, Andy, I'm sporting the Unity Motorsports Garage colors, the Tunnel Ram Mafia shirt tonight.
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw that. I saw that on there. It gave me a
Hey,
little smile.
hey, Big Block 402. Did the pictures do it justice to when you saw that in person?
We're I don't. Is my thing just not updating or something? I don't even see it.
I'll make sure you go down to the bottom. If you've stopped it, it might have paused your chat.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where it's at.
Clint has a good general performance question.
Yep, right here.
Yes, sir.
Shane, any advantage to removing the plenum divider on Offie Street tunnel ram improve drivability a little? Okay, so I'm assuming he's talking about a dual plane. There's actually a guy. There's been a few people who've done this. Um, I can't remember the name of the challenge. I just had a brain fade, but he actually did back to back where he took this thing out, and I know for a fact that taking it out or even cutting it down hurts performance. And he proved it, and it literally kills performance. What I'm going to tell you is leave the plenum divider there. Always, if you can, get now if you have a divider, you want an open hole spacer. If you have a single plane, you get a 4-hole, and he proves this on there. So what I would do on this on my Offie Street tunnel ram. Oh wait, this is on his street tunnel ram. Sorry, I should have kept reading the question. Sorry, I thought it was a dual plane. Sorry. Is there any advantage of removing the divided plenum on my Offie Street tunnel ram? You know what? Show me the plenum, how it divides and how far up it goes, and where it's at. When you can send pictures to me. I'm sorry about that, guys. I should have kept writing or reading. Yeah, he's got a cool tunnel ram. I'm not going to show it, but you send me a picture of it, of the top of it, and I'll tell you what I think, because we've done a lot of testing, and it goes against a lot of thinking on this, but I can tell you that plenum really doesn't make as big of a difference in a tunnel ram application as one might think. The biggest thing is taper and the actual runner itself, and the percentage of taper. That really is everything. The bell mouth coming in, and plenum really is at the bottom of the barrel. So um, I really wouldn't worry about it too much.
Max Wedge Dick Dastardly is enjoying this Tunnel Ram Mafia so much, he wants to get a Cross Ram Cartel shirt going.
Right? Dude,
You
that
know
is
what, Max
awesome.
Wedge? If you do that, I want one.
Me too.
I want one 2X. Send it to me. Pay you promptly.
You know, I gotta tell you, just because I'm a Mopar guy, I love the Cross Ram Cartel shirt, but the Tunnel
Yes.
Ram Mafia, I would be like, Tunnel Ram Mafia, what's up?
If you do that, Max Wedge Dick Dastardly, I will take both shirts with me when I travel so I can wear rival gang colors on alternating days.
Pick a side and stay there, right?
Yeah, right.
On the track, we'll have two different sides. You don't go that hood over there. No, those are the Cross Ram guys over there. That's the cartel, but you got to stay with the Mafia over here.
On this side of the tracks, we run tunnel rams.
Oh man,
Love it.
the
Love
first
it.
cross track rivalry, right?
I will
Uh,
remind everybody, even though we're having an absolute blast with all of this monkey bike and single cylinder tech and all that, it's still certainly open for general tech questions. So
yeah. No, it's
we're having a
I,
blast, but
oh yeah. This is a good one. In fact, I said this like 3 times because I was saying I even told my wife, this is one of the few ones I was really, really, really looking forward to because I knew that this was gonna blow up just like this. I just knew it. Um is there one there? Nope. Sounds like Grease Lightning Showdown. Sounds like a Grease Lightning Showdown. Remember that? Oh man.
kind of does.
Yeah. Is a cross ram eligible for a tunnel
No,
ram? No,
no,
no.
that's
Cross
crazy.
ram is a cartel.
Yes.
Tunnel ram is a mafia.
Buick Smith. Hey, Buick Smith, is a Chevy engine eligible to be a Buick? No, it is not. It's either
It's
BOP or it's Chevy. It can be under the GM umbrella, but it's not the same.
yeah. Speaking of that,
You know
how
what?
does
If you have a
AM's
Buick Apollo, I want to call it a Nova on purpose just for that.
I know we've talked about this before, but Nova, you have the Nova is the acronym, the Omega, the Ventura, and the Apollo.
Right,
Did you know? Yeah,
right, right, right.
it's all of them. Yeah, yeah. So a lot of people don't know that one, but oh,
Yes.
that's a good one. Yeah, I
And
like
if you
that.
watch Corvette Summer, well, I call them off-brand Novas or BOP Novas. There's a nice example of one in Corvette Summer at the end.
Hmm.
38 POS Racing, but what does it identify as? I don't know, probably a truck. I
So,
have no idea.
what's sad is what kind of world do we live into where we can understand this joke?
Max Wage, Dick Dastardly, I've already sent your screenshot to Tony. He's glad to talk with you.
Oh, awesome. Uh,
Clayton's Toolbox has
uh,
a good tech question up above that. 826.
right here. Nope.
Yeah, you can catch Rick Salmon first or Clayton, but he's
Right.
asking about fuel pump.
What kind of fuel pump do you use on your carbureted race cars, and what fuel line size? Okay, I use 3/8 personally, and Edelbrock makes a really nice pump. I believe it's 110 gallon per hour, um, and that really comes down to fuel and demand and engine size and carburetor size. So that's kind of hard to answer all those questions. But if it's, let's just say, a 383 cubic inch or 400 cubic inch engine, let's say an 850 carb, I would be running a 3/8 line, front all the way up, and then I'd be a really decent fuel pump would be like the Edelbrock. I think it's a 110, I believe, or is it a 140? I think it's a 110 mechanical pump, and it puts out a decent amount of pressure. Some people who can't control it actually have to put a regulator on them. So, but they work good. That's what I would do. Um, is this the right here? Is this an old VW Holly 2-barrel Plano manifold, a mini version of a tunnel ram? Right, dude. He is absolutely correct. Remember those?
Yeah, it is. I call it a divorce tunnel ram.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
exactly
Yeah.
what it is.
Clint says he texted me the pic, so let's take a look here. Is there something else I'm going through while I'm waiting for this to come
Do
up?
you know offhand what the maximum lift is for the Edelbrock E Street heads? Or if you want to reformat that question to best help our friend Ken there.
What is the maximum lift recommended for stock valve springs on the Edelbrock E Street heads? Okay, really, you shouldn't be going by lift. You really should be looking at uh, cam, and how fast and aggressive the cam is, duration at 50 RPM, so on and so forth. Really, lift is only comes into play because you want to set up so it's 50 thousandths before coil bind on a race application. Um, what I would do is send me your setup, what you want to do, and what you have currently right now to spolido@edelbrock.com. That's me, SPULIDO@edelbrock.com. And I'll get you taken care of. I'll tell you exactly what you need to know. There's been, obviously slight changes throughout the years. So for me to give you a specific number right now, it's kind of hard. And then that way we can kind of get you set up that way. And I have all the engineering books for that. So um, I can look it out through the years. Technically, the small block Chevrolet was designed by the guys at Buick in 1953. The executives at Buick didn't want to design, so they sold it to Chevy. Wow. Okay. Didn't know that. That's a good one. There's people asking, this is how you know you struck a chord. Jeff, how much do you weigh? You know when the monkey bike rules are good because they're already asking people. I'm 155.
For the one asking what NNN stands, if you see that acronym, the No Name Nationals is often abbreviated that way.
Oh, did I miss? Oh, right there. Yep.
Yeah. Two Hack says I'm 155. I think that's pushing it. Two Hacks was close. He might have had an extra sandwich to keep from having to carry extra weight on the bike.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, it's no. Okay, in your okay, so what it is, what he's saying is that he has, so it's a tunnel ram with a divider in it like that.
Right.
Okay, now I understand what he's talking about.
So the top
leave it
has
the
a
way it is.
divider.
Huh?
The top has a divider.
The top has got a divider. I thought maybe it was in the plenum or something like that. I would leave it absolutely just the way it is, just like that. Because I remember seeing this picture from the side when you sent this, and it's got a massive, massive plenum. Plus, you were talking about how far apart. Can you see it right there? Going
Yes.
full John Wilburn. Yep,
Yes.
right there. It's got a massive plenum, so I think that's going to help direct it down. The whole idea is keeping those carburetors right above those ports, so I would just leave it in there. I would probably try to run the smallest carburetors I could personally, is what I would do to keep that velocity up.
Fabre Smod repeat, remember, that's what power adders and things are for. We've given you a lot of leeway on power adders and displacement. Lots of ways to win.
Yeah. Well, that just means that speed through weight reduction, you're the weight reduction now. Start losing some weight. Right? Yeah.
Two Hack says I'll get down to race weight by then. What are you going to do? Amputate a foot? I mean, you don't really have much to work with there, man.
Right.
I mean,
but yeah, I mean, you can think yourself around this, because I've always been a bigger guy than most of the people, as far as like I've always been 6 foot, just about 200 pounds, and someone who's races motorcycles, that's not really, people are 140. So I had to think around it. How am I going to make this work around that? And that's the whole idea here, so that way you can work around that.
there are people that, I mean, you wouldn't believe how lean I look at 195 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see both veins in my biceps at 195. So I'm not ever going to get down there in Damien territory.
No.
It's not possible.
No.
But still, that 230 is a challenging weight break.
Yeah, I hover right between like 195, 199, right in that range.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to get below that 190 mark personally, because I just don't feel right, Okay. See, speaking of tunnel rams, what is better to build, a tunnel ram for aluminum tube or thin steel tubing? Any disadvantage to either? I would go with the aluminum, because it's just heat distribution. It's gonna get radiate the heat. Plus, it'll just be a little lighter, and it's everything's just better about it. And welding, it's easier with the aluminum once you know how to weld aluminum. Molding, it's going to be easier. The thin steel tubing is going to have just, you can do it. It will work. But the aluminum tube is just easier to work with. Plus, just forming it, so if you have to go from round to square, square to round, with the aluminum, it's just a little easier to do that, importing it. So,
Clay's Toolbox has a good one there too.
All right, go for it. I'm going to hit some.
Do you ever test your fuel system flow by putting a hose in a gallon jug and timing how long it takes to fill? So you're talking about doing one of those flow tests. There's little machines that do that, but yeah, you could do it another way too.
Yep.
To know if you're getting enough fuel at full throttle without an AFR gauge. I have never done that. I've done injector tests like that though.
Yeah, that's not going to help you with the on the AFR gauge because with this, all you're really doing with this, the first statement is making sure that you can have enough gallons per hour to support the engine and the power you're trying to make. So you have X amount of cubic inches, X amount of power at X amount of RPM. You know exactly by how much fuel it takes to make that. It's a really simple math problem. That's how dynos work in a sense. Um, as far as getting enough fuel at full throttle without an AFR gauge. Okay, that comes down to a whole separate set. That comes down to your jets and your carburetor, and how things are set up in the fuel mixer, which is the carburetor. So it's a whole different thing. There's two different questions. I would always run an AFR gauge. They're so inexpensive nowadays, and you can put them on your car and just leave them, and they work beautifully.
Now, I thought that Toledo was going to go all brake specific fuel consumption on us
I
there for a minute.
I,
You were
I was I
close.
was this
You were
close to
thinking
doing.
about it.
I was this close to do it, but I didn't want to go crazy. I was like, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go down that, but I was trying to keep it simple. Let's put it that
You
way.
know
But
what? What you know we should do on a Tech Talk Wednesday? I think it'd be a great topic.
sure.
Is both of us just go full nerd academic, like bayonet spear to the academic side, and get into thermal efficiency and
Oh man.
specific fuel consumption and all of these interesting topics like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it would like extracting energy from the fuel. We talk about like say the thermal efficiency of something like a pro stock versus other classes and those kind of reasons why they make so much power. I think that would be an interesting live.
Yeah. Another one too is just the difference between aluminum head and cast iron heads. People always think, "Oh, I got aluminum heads. I'm going to be faster." Oh no.
You're faster because you gave up maybe 70 pounds, but
Yes, but usually if it's
not
if
for the
it's
reasons you think.
yes, exactly. Most people think that, I have a 10-to-1 cast iron or 10-to-1 aluminum. I can tell you right now, pound for pound, all ports being equal, the cast iron one's going to be faster because it's going to heat, it's going to hold the heat. The aluminum's going to dissipate the heat. You got to get the same power. You got to put another point of compression in that aluminum one because it dissipates the heat so fast. These are just, these are just, these are just heat engines. They need heat. They need some heat to make them work. If they're too cold, they just don't work right.
Clayton likes that idea. Maybe have a live about volumetric and thermal efficiency
Oh yeah, we
in
could do that.
general, like something like that. That would be fun and interesting and different.
Yeah.
We would just have to give a disclaimer because anybody that thinks this is about a part number for something or an application for this part, you know, it would
Yeah.
be a highly theoretical, esoteric live, but it would be interesting.
Uh, it's all a thought. You two could always solicit
We do,
topics from a group for future reference. Yeah, we could.
you do.
Absolutely.
You got a chat going over here all the time.
Yeah.
We always are getting ideas for that and
Yeah.
do them occasionally.
I just bought a narrowband AFR reads 14.5 all the time. Well, it's going to because it's narrowband.
It's
It's
a narrow
either
band, yeah.
it's a narrowband. So of course it's going to. It won't when it tells you it's rich, it doesn't tell you how rich. And if it's lean, it doesn't tell you how lean. I think we just went through the thing. It's what did I say? Was it one? It's 0 to 1 volts, right? Is it narrow? And then a wide band is 0 to 5 volts. And that's the difference. Is that when it's rich, you don't know, but that's what a wide band will tell you. It's 10 to 20. As far as
If I was going to compare a narrow band and a wide band, I
yep.
would compare it to like the architect and the home inspector. If you
Oh
have the
yeah,
home inspector in there, he is going to tell you every mortar joint, every lag bolt, every structural everything, why the house is going to fall down. The architect will say, "I'll be all right," and just writes you a letter.
right.
That's the difference, right?
Yeah,
One of them tells you if the house is going to fall down the bank or not. It makes it a real simple binary yes or no. And the other one will give you great detail about all of the pieces and parts. And that's kind of the difference between wide and narrow. If
yeah,
you want to, it'll be all right. You can run a narrow. If you really want to know what's going on, you can run a wide.
yeah. I just look at the price. They're so close in price now, a couple $100 difference. I would rather just say the AFR because then I could really tune in something. I know
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
I know the difference between 13.2 and 12.7. I know that it's not just a green dot that's lining up somewhere in the yellow.
Yeah.
Mm. I'm missing this one. Clint Street Machine. I'm half-ass in there, half-ass hanging out with my wife. Okay.
Okay.
Missed that. Yeah. Awesome.
Well, we're
Hopefully.
glad for the half of you that's here.
Yeah. Right.
We'll
Thanks.
we'll we'll sanitize accordingly.
He goes, I wasted $20. Not really, because if it's reading perfect, then it's reading perfect,
That's right. If it
For the
makes you
longest
feel
time.
better about standing on it, maybe it was worth every bit of it.
Yeah, that's right. Shane, AFR 100%. Yeah, I can usually, what would normally take me, probably a couple weeks on someone else's car. I basically got the wideband. I would put them in there, and I would literally have it done in less than half a day. You dial in the idle, you get the timing right. We go down the road. I'd say, okay, drive it, and I would record. I would make some changes. Then we come back. I strap it on my dyno. We make a couple passes, change a jet or two, and then it was usually done. So it really and I could charge the same money because they're happy. They don't care how fast it was. They just want the car right so they can go out street racing. So it really doubled the how fast I could get them done. Oh, there was a text that came across, asked me what was my first one that I got. Believe it or not, the first one I ever got was the Fast. Remember those? The Fast?
Mhm.
I still have it. It's a little plastic box about this big,
Yep.
and it's got a wideband in each side. And I had the upgraded RPM switch. Oh yeah,
That's from the
it was
'90s.
dude. It was yeah, but it was high tech at that time. They were like really, and it was cool. The screen had this little flame thing. It's all warming up, and it had little flames on it. Oh yeah, no, the good old days. And it's funny is that now that I work for Edelbrock, Fast is part of that
Right.
group.
Yeah.
So I took it in and had it and checked over, and the things are in perfect working order. So
Cool.
technically, yeah, I still got it. It still works, and those are the original O2 sensors that I got. Um, okay, man, today's just cranking by, man. Supposedly I'm
It's been fun in
slanting.
here tonight.
Yes. I got to tell you, man, I'm just so looking forward to what people and all these guys. And here's another thing. Now that you guys were in here, you when you come in here on Wednesday Night Tech Talk and you're starting to do your monkey bike, you got to tell us so that way we can go and check out your channel because I
Yeah.
want to see. I'm really interested in see what you guys build. Yes, dual dual channel wideband for the win. You know that they have a new one too. That I think I sent a link out to everyone or whoever asked for it. Um, that's the one that I have. That's on my Dart. Oh, it's awesome. It goes right to your phone. That thing's awesome. Yeah,
Wow.
and it goes to your phone and it has RPM input, and then you can record, and so you can do an average. You can do of the two. You can do single, and so you can go down the road and just watch it, hit record, and go up and down a few hills and make your changes. That's why I was able to change carburetors so fast on the Dart and have them dialed in and get 22 miles of the gallon almost instantly because I would drive it to work and back and I would have it tuned the next day. They're amazing. So if you know what you're doing, they're amazing. I think and that's why I'm having a hard time going to fuel injection on the Dart because the carburetor runs so damn good. It's so simple. And if I have a problem with it, I hit it with a rock and it works. Oh, I knew what mine is old. Right. Yes. Right. Tony, man.
Well,
So
Andy, your truck is older than you are, so I mean, you can't get too awfully modern.
yeah, my kids were in my car the other day. In fact, it was my daughter, my oldest, and she was like, "Daddy, what year is this car?" I said, "1969." And she goes, "When were you born?" I was like, "1975." And she goes, "The car's older than you." I was like, "Damn,
Yeah. Yep.
man." Oh, yeah, right. Wide bands and carbs are like peas and carrots. 100%. Yeah. Now I remember I had the the magnifying glass and I'm out there reading backstrap, looking at porcelain. and it was just, yeah, I could do it, but it's one of those things. You got to go down the path, track really fast, shut it off, then you're at the end of the track. You don't want to idle it, so that way you don't get your read wrong. And oh man, it's just pain in the butt. Things so much easier now.
Brian is 1 year older than his car.
Ooh.
Your Duster's 74.
Oh, he was born in 75?
73.
73. Oh, okay. Okay.
He's got just a little bit on us.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. In case you guys didn't know it, I just crested the big 49. So next year is my 50. So that's a monumental number, I guess.
Dallas and I and Professor P were all born in consecutive years. I'm the
Right.
baby of the group, but Dallas is the middle. He's the Jam Brady of the three.
Yeah. So you're 77 then?
What's that?
You're 77?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Man, it's funny. In my group of friends, I was always the youngest. It seems like in this group of friends, I'm like the oldest,
I don't know. You got to be older statesmen here, like 38 POS Racing and Mohawk and Dizzy and
Yeah.
Max Wedge, Dick Dastardly.
Ooh, Shane, where's the party at?
Right
Dude,
here.
Yeah, right here. Every Wednesday night, man. This is the party. And in fact, speaking of that, Mr. Clint, I started to work on the old sound room up above, my old studio now. I got a whole bunch of sound deadening, so that's going to be going up soon. So if you ever come back this way, bring your guitar. Bring the guitar.
Get ready to start falling apart, guys, Brian says. I'm way ahead of you, Brian. I already know.
Yeah.
Indirect Connection and I are both representing 77.
Yeah. My check engine lights come on a couple times. Yeah. I've had a few things.
Yeah. Well, I did something. I don't know what I did the way I slept night before last. But this arm starts hurting right here. It's better today than yesterday, but it would just stop. And so I was lifting it up with this arm if I needed to reach. And I know it just looks so weird, but I'm like, man, is this what old people have to do, this kind of stuff right here? But it's a little better today than yesterday. So hopefully a couple of days it'll be good to go.
Yeah. We should kill this
Mama
person.
Pam needs to be tossed.
Yeah.
Andy says 4:30 mornings are killing me.
Here we go.
Understand that.
And they're gone, just like that. As soon as I saw, I was like, "Who's this person, man?" That's why.
Yeah.
Okay. What did I miss? Bye, Andy. Take it easy, man. Sorry.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Always good to have you in the chat.
Absolutely. Well, did you want to talk about what you got coming up on Friday?
So Friday, I have, and at least two of the three are in the chat right now. So I'm going to have, and I'll show the thumbnail.
Single greatest thumbnail ever made.
Funny. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
So each year, the No Name Nationals gives away a motivational clock to a channel that has taken a pretty big bite out of a project, right? And the first year, the clock award winner was Brian from Dust Devil Garage. And the second year, the clock award winner was Mopar's Mustangs and Minivans. So I'm going to say that's jointly Colleen Tebow and Damien there. And that clock is Damien's. Brian's looked very similar. But there's a clock, and which I can zoom in on the clock. The clock basically has different squares that say different things. Amongst them are plenty of time for next year's No Name Nationals when you run out of time and stuff like that, right? Just different things. Well, we're very close to giving away the third clock. And so I'm going to have the recipients of clocks in years past come on, and we're going to talk about their different things and, their projects and what the year was like and just general stuff pertaining to, project planning and preparation, these kind of things. And then pretty soon you guys will get word that a third clock has been given away.
Wow. And I want to say one more thing real quick. Is on John's channel. Last week, he had an amazing person on there. And I wasn't able to chime in, but I watched I literally watched almost every single minute of it, and about the ethanol and the that was just an amazing one. I like that.
Yeah,
I was
so
just amazed at, huh?
Thumper is amazing. He knows a lot about ethanol fuel. 38 POS Racing has known Thumper forever, by the way. But he puts on a clinic, and I try to get him about once every year or so.
Here's the biggest takeaway I got from that. He said something that I knew nothing about until I moved to this part of the world. I had no idea that you could do anything other than kill kudzu. I had no idea. I
There you go.
didn't know that people make ethanol out of kudzu.
You can
That's
eat it. The entire plant is edible too.
really,
The leaves, stalk, and all.
I see, didn't know that. In fact, the first time I was here, when I first came here, it was in October of 2020. And I was going out to TCI for the first time to go and check out their building and facility. And I was driving down one of the roads. It was Highway 5, I think is what it is. And I saw these like rolling hills, right? It was nice and green and everything. And then about 2 months later, I drive back out that way, and there's no hills there. Literally, there's ditches because the kudzu was so thick, it covered up all the ditches and this 100-foot valley because the kudzu was growing on the tops of the trees, but because it was down in the valley, it looked like a meadow, but really what it was is 100, maybe 50 or 75-foot ravine that went all the way through. So that was my first experience with kudzu, and I was like, wow, that you could really hurt yourself if you didn't know.
That stuff can grow 7 feet in a day.
Is that the metric? Oh yeah,
That's
he
what
did
I've
say
heard.
that, right?
That it can be grow. Yes, that it can grow that fast in one day under the right conditions.
Wow, that's like kelp. That's like
Yeah,
like seaweed.
yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they're related somehow. We got kudzu, I want to say, from England, and the Army Corps of Engineers brought it here to control erosion. And then they found out what an invasive species it was.
Thanks. Yeah, you can't kill it. Literally dry. It's on everything.
It's like the Chinese carp. They have them in farms and say, "Hey, man, this thing will really get rid of all of the the pest things in the water. Get rid of all the bass too. Those things eat everything."
Yeah.
I mean, so we've not done well with bringing invasive species over here.
The monkey ram. A tunnel ram for a
Yeah,
monkey bike.
I like a Big Block 402's comment. I'm calling out all tunnel rams this year, except maybe Dallas's.
Well, yeah. The
Well,
thunder
you
chicken.
better pack a lunch.
Yeah, because there's already money on his. There's a
Woo.
lot of people who got his number. You know what I mean? He's got a big bullseye. I said, man, if you go out here and win, you might as well just paint a bullseye on this car.
The bounties, I predict. Look, the house is not part of any of the bounties. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
we'll promote them, but we're not going to make them.
Yeah. What was the bounty up? What was it? $1,100? Was it?
Oh,
It was.
I think got over $1,000. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. And one of the guys, I think the guy from Lambert's, one of the owners from Lambert's, was there and threw $100 in at the last
Oh,
minute.
okay. Cool.
Yeah. Ethanol. Do you guys think 85 would be good for a track with an undersquare engine with low compression, since it burns, would help continue to pushing down? Okay, here's the thing: is that E85 it really works well when you have high compression, because you need a little bit of fuel with it. Something that's an undersquare engine, I mean, it depends on the RPM. I personally would never run the 85 in a slant six, just because it would take so much fuel to get that thing to run. There's not enough port to maintain that type of fuel. I don't know.
Michael Schmidt, it would be worth your while if you have any inclination to try to run E85 and anything, to watch that live with
Yeah,
Thumper from last Friday on my channel, January 26th. He answers a lot of questions about running
yeah,
ethanol and E85. And ethanol and E85, pure ethanol, is not the same. E100 and E85 do have some differences, and he gets into those too.
yeah, yep, yeah, yeah. So what's your thoughts on this undersquares? Do you like undersquare engines?
Yeah, Yeah, I like them. Okay, I got to
Yeah,
tell you though, in this day and time, practically nothing is an over square the wrong answer for. I
I
mean,
agree. I was just going to
but
say
under
that.
square's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
they make torque smoothly because the stroke is so long. Typically,
Hmm.
uh,
And you don't have to
yeah,
RPM. You don't have to
yeah,
RPM them.
exactly. You run low RPM, make the power down low. It's
Hmm.
okay.
Oh, I got to tell you something. When I was telling everybody about my engine setup, I was wrong on one thing. It's not 4 125 stroke. It's 4 120 stroke on my engine.
And your one hater will call you on
Oh, I know. Yeah, whatever.
it.
But you know what? I don't care.
It's
And
funny, isn't it?
I'll make
Mohawk,
I'll make one little video like I did, like
right?
a little short, and I'll put the little 5 there. Fixed.
Mohawk says bamboo spreads super fast too. Yes, in fact, it's not legal to plant bamboo in Virginia either.
Oh,
Now,
you know that we have our neighbors got these like banana trees, and
right?
and it's like literally like water, right? And it's starting to come through under my side of the fence. And man, does that stuff! I literally cut it, and just throw it out there, and run it over with the mower. Man,
Yeah, bamboo grows fast, and there's stands of it around here that they get out of hand.
wow. I might just yeah, right. Probably won't happen this year. I got too much crap to do, but the truck might end up with a tunnel ram on it. Oh, well,
Yep, never bet against Tony. Very
yeah,
well could.
yeah.
That
So
truck's gonna be meaner this year, I predict.
yeah, we're getting close, man, to nine
We
o'clock
are.
already. Wow.
We have
So
3 minutes
here's
and
what I got
46
kind of
seconds.
going on. I did a balance video on Slant 6 where I just balanced pistons and rods. And now here's the caveat is that the pistons were already on the rod. So I show you how to kind of do that, where to grind it off. I just dropped that up there. I got another one dropping, how to blueprint and modify a Slant 6 over the counter pump. Because, the aftermarket pumps are not always the greatest. The biggest reason is that when they drill the hole that comes off of the filter and it's coming back into the pump, goes out, it's a very small hole, very tiny hole. Here's the problem is that on the other side, so basically on the pressure side, now the higher pressure side, that's where you're reading pressure, and that's where the pressure relief valve is. And then on the other side of the hole, which goes to the engine, it's much smaller. And so you're never, even though you think you're seeing the pressure, even though you think that the engine is putting out the correct, the pump's putting out the pressure, it's misleading because remember, we've talked about diameter of holes, volume and pressure related to that. So I'm drilling out all the holes to 1/2 inch. I'm opening up everything generously so that way we can keep that 45 to 50 pounds of pressure, because I drop the pressure in them because I'm opening up all the ports. So you guys get to see a really involved video, but I do keep a couple secrets to myself, just because I just would like to, on how I set up the actual pump itself, inside the housing, and just a few little tricks that I've learned over the years. But everything else, you can use what I have, and you can really, really, really change how your engine runs, um, in relationship.
Patrick needs some camshaft info from you. He just bought a 402 performance Mopar performance crate engine, short block. And Buick Smith is asking an interesting question. Can your fancy metal printer make a tunnel ram for a big block Buick for under $2,500?
Hmm. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I would have to propose that question. Here's the biggest thing: is who would make the model.
Yeah.
That's going to be the big thing, because that's it. We would need a model of it made, a 3D model that's correct, and then it would have to be machined. I could almost guarantee you, it could probably make the printer for that, but to do the model, the machine work, and all that other stuff, it definitely wouldn't be under that.
Junkyard D is saying Professor P and John, Jack is his monkey bike, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Jack was stolen last year and recovered.
What?
Junkyard D is a warrior. You don't steal anything from Junkyard D. He's thanking us for the rule modification because Jack apparently is going to come back like the Bionic Man here. So,
Awesome.
all right.
Well, guys, we're kind of hitting that mark, man. It's
Yeah.
it's right there, man. It was fast one. I was looking forward to it, and I hope you guys really enjoyed this one. This was a
It
lot
was a
of fun. It was a
blast.
lot of work, but it was a lot of fun because we want to see you guys have a good time. I know that John does,
Oh, yeah.
because he's the bringer of the No Name Nationals.
It-
I'm
it's
just kind
it's
of a
it's
consultant
it's our
there.
Super Bowl.
It
It's where
is,
all this work culminates, right, into one
right?
spot.
Yes. No, I
But we
agree.
have other cool things in the hopper, so you don't want to miss Wednesday night Tech Talk Live because that's where some of these things leak out.
It might
So
just leak.
there's other cool stuff coming,
Yeah.
not just this. We don't want to change a bunch of stuff, just a couple little things, but the stuff we're changing this year is freaking cool.
Yes. Well, guys, like always, slantdailygarage@yahoo.com. I see a couple of you guys were sending emails through, and I was answering them as we were going. And don't forget to see Mr. John Wilburn. He's probably got one of the greatest thumbnails ever out for right there for Friday night.
This
So go and
Friday,
check him out on Friday on his channel at 7 Central Time. It's I looked at it and I was laughing and didn't even know it was his. And then once he showed it to me before we went on the air and I was laughing, I laughed even harder because I thought it was awesome. So
Brian is not going to slug Damien, and if you know Groundhog Day, you know what I mean.
yeah. That's awesome. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. And if you got any questions about the rules, obviously you can go and you want to get them, nonamenationals.com, right? That's what it
Yeah,
is.
that's where the rules are. And if you have any questions, you can send them to just my email. It's on the same page as the rules,
Yep.
right there. John at PrincetonDragway.com is right there. And I can direct the question, to Professor P or Deke as needed, or Dallas or whomever has jurisdiction in that specific area of the question.
Yep. Sounds good. All right, guys. Until next week, you guys have a good week. Stay safe. And I want to start seeing you guys build some cool stuff, man.
Right.
All right. You guys take it easy and have a good week.